Hello, friends, and welcome back to Kabaka Talks. And today, I want to talk about some practical knowledge that I think most of us, know about, but we tend to forget. So I just wanted to remind you guys about these few things. Um, Things that makes a huge difference. Um, the first thing I want to talk about is um, when you start to make a little bit of money. Obviously, I think it's very important to buy quality things, especially when it comes to clothes. I think that we tend to buy so much, different clothes because they're cheap. Maybe we're going to say in a store and then we buy because it's on sale. We didn't really plan to buy, but then you walk into this store, they're having a sale, and then you buy. You buy not because you actually needed that, those pants or those shoes, but you buy just because they're on sale. There's a huge difference there. A lot of people, they go into the stores and without planning to buy anything, and then they go there and then they see this huge red for sale sign, you know and they buy. So what I want to say, that I think once you make a little bit of money, I think it's very important to buy less things, but more quality. So for example, instead of buying like 5 pairs of jeans, that are on sale, it's better to just buy maybe two pair or even one that you're gonna wear, because most of the time, we tend to wear the same things, right? So invest in the things, that you use a lot. So, and I think investing in some really good clothing, fewer clothes, but very good quality. You can buy them a little bit more expensive, but as long as you buy quality, a little more expensive, but it's more quality. So clothes, yeah, that's I think more people could invest in fewer clothes, but with more quality. And that goes the same thing with food, for example. I think food also is, that's one thing that, me personally, I like when it comes to food, I really, I don't really, I don't really think about, I don't try to be frugal when it comes to food. Like, if there's anything I really spend money on in my life, it's food, because for me, it's almost like the only thing I'm gonna bring to my grave when I die is actually the food that I ever that I ate in my life. So I think food is also one thing that I think you shouldn't be cheap on. I think once you got a little bit of money, I think it's good to buy some quality food. Buy some good, really quality food, because at the end of the day, we are what we eat. So I think that's very important to invest in some really good food. And the third thing that I think, once we get a little bit of money, that I think everyone should do, is trying to get if you can get some help with cleaning your place, your apartment. I don't know, maybe if you don't have time to do that. I mean, even if you do have time, sometimes it's just better to, if you can afford to have someone come to your place, and you get some home, a cleaner, that can come and help you, and and then you can, instead of cleaning your apartment for 1.5 2 hours every week, you can just, that time, you can choose to work out instead. So I think that if you can afford, I think that's a very good investment, to have someone come to your place and help you to clean your place when you're not at home. So that's one thing that I think most people really appreciate to have. And the fourth thing is actually, we spend a lot of time sleeping in our lives. So I think that investing in, because this goes back to the same thing, as clothes, that a bed, we spend a lot of time in our bed sleeping. So it's very important that we actually have a good mattress, to sleep on, to feel that we can, wake up and just feel so, like energized, and, feel like we all really had like a good night of sleep. Because everything in life starts with, with a good 8 hours of sleep, on a comfortable mat. So I would say that, like shoes, the bed you sleep in, and also the food you eat, I think that those are things that are very, very important to, to invest some money on, so yeah, so try to find a very good comfortable mattress to, to sleep on every night, and also the pillow, also a good pillow, for the neck, right? Yeah, we tend to forget about having a good pillow. So yeah, um the other thing I want to talk about is, again, if you start to make a little bit of money, I think that, you know it's so easy to get caught up in like buying the newest gadgets, buying the newest MacBook, buying the newest uh, iPhone, or like, maybe the latest, I don't know, maybe you're into bikes, you want to buy the latest bikes, or like, just stuff overall. um but I think that, most of the times, like the happiness you get from buying, buying material stuff, like it I mean, you're happy for, for a few weeks, but then it dies off. So I think that most people will be, much happier actually investing. And even it's proven, like, scientifically, that we tend to be happier when we invest, like in experiences, like traveling, like going to see, let's say you go to see, like, you go to a concert with your friends, experiences, right? It's because, those are the things that we actually, remember, um experiences. So because it's, like there's no thing as, like there's no such thing as, you know like, imagine going to, this really nice trip to, you know Indonesia, and then like 10 years, you know 10 years, looking back on those pictures and like memories you made, and like friends you made from, from over there, like, like you can't compare that to the iPhone you bought like 10 years ago, like it's very hard, so yeah, I please, invest more in experiences. It always lasts longer, it always lasts longer. um uh, and number six, uh I think that it's important that we we take care of our personal economy. That's one thing that is very important, to take care of the personal economy. Because, you know, by having a good economy, and like making sure that you know how much money you're getting in and how much money is getting out, you can also be more, less stressed, about your finances. So because I think a lot of people, they neglect their personal finances so much, and then they end up getting stressed. So I think that's one thing I really think most people, have a lot of issues with, is their personal finances. They don't really know how much money is coming in, how much money is getting out, and like what kind of subscription they're having. So I really think that being very aware of your personal economy, and actually like having a budget that you actually follow, is very, very important. Yeah, so that's very important. And 7, obviously it's important to hang out with high value people. What do I mean by that? I mean hang out with people that are driven, people that wanna try to do, you know, people that wanna, like get ahead, like try to, move, move towards a better future, like try to, because they say you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out the most with, so if you hang out with, you know 4 weed smokers, you'd probably be the 5th, and people know this, but yet they continue hanging out like this low life people, that's very bad thing. And I think most people know this, but it's, it can be a good thing to think about from time to time, very important, very, very important. Hang out with good and high value people that obviously want the best for you, you know yeah, so those are small things that can make a huge difference in most people's lives, you know and overall, just trying to stay positive, think good thoughts, you know we are what we think, but we're also what we consume. So that's one thing, a bonus thing, that be very mindful about what you consume, be very, very, because the mind is always listening. And also say good things about yourself, because the mind is always listening what you're saying. So yeah. Yeah, so this was some small advice that I think most of us are aware of, but sometimes we tend to forget. So please think about these things, guys, and thank you. Hope you can like and hopefully subscribe, and I'll see you guys around. This is Jonah talking on Kabaka Talks. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.